Greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. Welcome to a Wednesday marathon. The day we do the large catalogues, or in our case anything over 13 albums. And today we've got a viewer's request, and the band that was been asked for are Gov't Mule. It was asked for a little while, but I hung back because I knew there was a new album coming out, so I wanted to include that. So, Gov't Mule, they're a sort of a side project of the Allman Brothers Band by Warren Haynes and Alan Woody. They were formed in 1994. They did like their trio, power trios like Cream, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, James Gannon Mountain, really that sort of thing. They added drummer Matt Apps, who played with Haynes in Dickie Beck's band, and they came together as Gov't Mule during the Allman Brothers breaks. Now, Gov't Mule now released 13 albums. Apart from one, they're all really good. So we'll have a look at them. So coming in at number 13 is their 8th album from 2007, and it's called Mighty High. Now this features reggae and dub versions of classic Mule covers and originals, with special guest appearances by reggae legends Michael Franti, Toots Hibbert and Willie Williams. So Gov't Mule on here are Warren Haynes, Matt Abbs, Danny Lewis on the keyboards, Pamela Fleming on trumpet, Andy Hess bass, and Geordie Johnson on guitar. First track is I Am a Ram, and it's the only actually song I like. It's the only one that really is good. Then we get Rebel with chorus features Willie Williams, Horseflies, The Shape I'm In, Play With Fire that had Michael Franti on it, Hard to Handle featuring Toots Hibbert, Hard to W, Unblow Your Horn, Unthrown That Spear featuring Michael Franti, So Ram So Strong, Outer Space, Reblow Your Mind, and Plasticine Error, which was Willie Williams. Unfortunately, I don't own this album. I've heard it twice, and that was enough. So I'm going to give that one an RTO ranking of 1 out of 10. Just purely for one track. And that's the only track I like on it, I Am a Ram. So, coming in at number 12. Now this is the 12th album released in 2021, and it's called Heavy Load Blues. Warren Haynes on vocals and guitar, Matt Apps on the drums, Jürgen Klassen on bass, Danny Lewis on keyboards. A few additionals, we've got Hook Hera on harmonica, Jenny G. Hill on the saxophone, Ruford O'Sullivan on a trombone, and Pam Fleming again on the trumpet. First track on here is called Blues Before Sunrise, which is an Elmore James song, and it's a great version. Good song, I like that song, and the Mule do a great version of it. Hole in My Soul, pretty soulful track. I love the horns on that. Pretty good, not a bad track. Then we get my favourite track on this one. It's called Wake Up Dead. Love the guitar work from Warren on this. Solid track. Love Is an Old Mean World. Solid blues track. Love Matt's drumming on this. Great little bass line here from the organ. And Warren Haynes as ever. Fantastic. Snatch It Back and Hold It. Very good blues track. Lovely stuff. Then we get a version of Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. First recorded by Bobby Blue in '74, but it was really known for Whitesnake. They made it their own. Gov't Mule do a great version of it as well. It's a great song. Good stuff on that one. Brother Bill in brackets, Last Clean Shirt. It's okay. It's an old oat song. First released by the Honeymoons in 1964, and it's a really good version of it. Then we have Make It Rain. Now this is a song from the Gravel Meister himself, Mr. Tom Waits, from his 2004 album Real Gone. Warren does a great version of it. It's not so gravelly as Tom's, but it's a pretty good version. Heavy Load. This is done in the style of that 1930s blues, you know, one guitar, you know, Robert Johnson-esque, John Lee Hooker. Great track. I like that one a lot. Feel Like Breaking Up Somebody's Home. Originally sung by Ann Peebles, of course. Albert King's done a version, but it's a really good version of this. If Heartaches Were Nickels, love this. Danny's keyboards is really good. I Asked Her for Water, She Gave Me Gasoline. Great version of this by T. Burnett. It's a bit extended, it's 9 minutes long, but it's pretty funky. I like that track. And Black Horizon is the last track. Some nice acoustic bluesy number. Great track. Definitely a good mixture of original and some classic blues songs. Don't mind this album at all. I really do like it. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay then, coming in at number 11. We've got 2013 now. And the 10th album, Shout. So it's Warren on the guitars, Matt on the drums, Danny on the keyboards, and Jürgen on the bass. First track on here is called World Boss. Cranky start here, the drumming's good, great little track to open up the album. No Reward comes next. Very Billy Gibbons guitar style, dirty blues, very, very good. Whisper in Your Soul. Jürgen's bass line at the beginning of this is pretty cool. Great vocal from Warren. Some nice guitar playing as ever. Captured. It's a nice track, but it goes on too long. 9 minutes. It's a little bit tedious towards the end. Scared to Live. It's got a bit of that reggae feel to it, but this is much better than what they did on the Mighty album. It's not a bad track actually. Stoop Solo, another great bass line here from Jürgen. Danny Louis, keyboards are fantastic on this. Great little track. Forsaken Saviour, solid blues number, some great guitar work from Warren on that. Done Got Wise, my favourite track, some slide guitar on here, bluesy slide guitar, you can't beat it. It's a great track. When the World Gets Small, these bass lines from this chap Jürgen, brilliant. Great drumming from Matt here. It's got a gentle sort of swing to it as well, really good. Funny Little Tragedy, more great bass playing here. Matt's drums are great on here. Fantastic little track. Bring On the Music, a great guitar solo here from Warren. Then there's another disc where they do it with guest, the whole album, different order but with guest singers. We've got World Boss with Ben Harper, Funny Little Tragedy with Elvis Costello, Stoop Solo with Dr. John, Captured was with Jim James, Whisper in Your Soul with Grace Potter, Scared to Live, Toots Hibbett, No Reward, Glenn Hughes, which is fantastic. Bring On the Music with Ty Taylor, Forsaken Saviour Dave Matthews, Don't Get Wise Miles Kennedy, and When the World Gets Small Stevie Winwood. Not a bad album. Do we need another album with everyone singing on it? Not really. But I do like Steve Winwood and Glenn Hughes on it. I sometimes put the other album on just for a change. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 10 is an album from 2002. It's called In the Deep End, which is the 5th album. And it's In the Deep End Volume 2. So after the death, sadly, of founder, member and bassist Alan Woody, the band started recording tracks using different bass players who Woody admired. So these are what bass players that Woody loved. Originally there was going to be one disc, but so many musicians wanted to be a part of these sessions. So 160 minutes of music was recorded. So Warren and Matt said we might as well put 2 albums out. So most of the album is the guitars and drums are done by Warren and Matt, and then everyone gets a guest bass player. So the first track is called "Trying Not to Fall." This is Jason Newsted, ex Flopton Jepson and Metallica bass player, and it's a great verse, great song. Jason does a great job, really good. "Time to Confess" is George Porter Jr. doing the bass on this. Solid, great bass line from George Porter Jr. Very good. Then "Greasy Grannies Go for Gravy" Part 1. What a title. This is Les Claypole, good bass player, and again, a bit funky. Then we get Part 2 with "The Grannies Go for," which is Claypole again, but it doesn't, nothing for me, it's not very good. What is Hip? The Tower of Power cover. Great band and a great version of this, and it's the bass done on it is done by Rocco Prestia. It's not a bad version of the Tower Prog song. Great guitar solo from Warren on this. I think this is actually much better than the original in my books. "World of Confusion" features the one and only Tony Levin. My favourite track on here. Tony Levin's bass work on this he is an incredible bass player, and you can tell it's Tony. It's a great track. "Hammer and Nails," which is the Staple Singers song. This features a bass player called Michelle Nicocello. Great cover of this. Again, I think they do a better version than the original. Fantastic. "Slow Happy Boys," Jack Cassidy. Fantastic song here. Really great keyboards on this. "Sundance" features the one and only Chris Squire. This is a jazz fusion track. That great Rickenbacker bass of Chris Squire is all over this. Absolutely fantastic. "Lay Off the Sunflower," which is Phil Lesh doing the bass on this. Great track. Bit of country blues here. It really works. "Catfish Blues" now, which is a really old song. It's been done by Jimi Hendrix, Muddy Waters, and Billy Cox does the bass on it. It's a great track. I love that track. "Which Way Do We Run," bass player on this is Dave Schools. One of my favourite tracks on here. And then "Baby Turnpike," which featured Alphonso Johnson. Great jazzy. Alphonso Johnson is a blues jazzy bass player. I love Warren Haynes' guitar work on this. Is fantastic. This is a great album. I love playing this. It's got some great tunes, a mixture of jazz and blues and country. It's a shame it's at number 10 in the list because it is a really strong album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. So coming in at number 9 is "In the Deep End Volume 1, which was the 4th album released on the 23rd of October 2001. So it's the same as Volume 2. You've got Warren on vocals and guitar and Matt on drums. First track on here is Fool's Moon, with the brilliant Jack Bruce from Cream. Great to hear Jack on this. The bass is terrific. Really strong track. "Life on the Outside." Now this features Larry Graham, another very good bass player. It's a great funky bass line from him on this. Absolutely killer track. "Banks of the Deep End." This features Mike Gordon. Mike Gordon again, a really good bass player. Great bass line. Chili blues out. Then we get "Down and Out in New York City," which is a James Brown version. And we've got Flea from the Chili Peppers on this. Absolutely killer. Flea is the king of funk bass, and it's a brilliant version. Then we get "Effigy," which is a Creedence Clearwater Revival song. Mike Watt does the bass. Love this track, and Gov't Mule do a fantastic version. Then we get my favourite track on here, and it's "Maybe I'm a Leo." the Deep Purple song. And if you're going to cover a Deep Purple song, why not get the bass player himself, Mr. Roger Glover? And they do a great version of this. If they'd have got anyone else to play the bass on this, I don't think it'd have worked. But fantastic. Then we get same price. Now the bass player on here is Mr. John Entwistle, another legend bass player, and boy can you tell, it's a great track. Then they do an Allman Brothers cover, which ain't too bad. And they do their Soulshine, which is pretty good. We got Willie Weeks doing this, and it doesn't sound any different from the Allman Brothers for me. It's just a great song. Then we get Gov't Mule, which is Chris Wood on the bass. Interesting rap track. It's got a great bass line from Chris and some Latino organ tour thing on it. Pretty good. Worried Down with Blues. Now this was actually co-wrote by Alan Woody before he died, and it features Old Tel Burbridge on the bass. This is why I love the blues. It's tracks like this, that sort of soulful drumming, a great bass line, just fantastic. Beautifully Broken, Stefan Lessard, some nice keyboard on this, pretty good. And then we've got Tear Me Down, Bootsy Collins, funk bass player, funky bass line, brilliant. And then we get another great version, and this actually is Alan Woody playing on the bass, and it's a brilliant cover of Grand Funk Railroad's Sin Is a Good Man's Brother. Probably one of the last tracks that Alan Woody done before he passed, and it's a great version of the Grand Funk Railroad song. As I said, I love these in the Deep End album. I think Volume 1 has got better tracks and some on this, and I play this quite a lot, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, then coming in at number 8, we got the 6th album from 2004, and it's called Déjà Voodoo, and this features Warren Haynes, Matt Apps, Danny Louie on the keyboards, and Andy Hess now on the bass. Bad Man Walking starts this one off. I love that funky blues sound on here. The keyboards from Danny are terrific. About to Rage, quite a long track, but it's really good. Matt and Andy, the engineering with this, it's absolutely solid. Don't miss a beat. Really strong track. Perfect Shelter. Warren's got some nice guitar effects on this one. Very good. Little Toy Brain, nice sort of gentle bluesy rock track. Some nice keyboard sounds here from Danny. Then we have my favourite track on here, and it's called Slack Jaw Jezebel. Incredible bass line from Andy. Really grooves along. Great solo from Warren, great guitar. One of the best tracks ever, Gov't Mule, not just on the album. Wine and Blood. Warren's vocal is great. Fantastic track. Lola, Leave Your Light On. Good little rocker here, some great riffs. And another fantastic. The guitar solo from Warren. Silent Scream, a bit long, it's 10 minutes. This is more 10 minutes. If you're going to do this, do it on stage for 10 minutes, not on the album. It just sort of goes on a little bit too long. No Celebration, it's okay, just solid. Mr. Man, great vocal from Warren on this. I do love Matt's drumming on this, fantastic. My Separate Reality, Danny's keyboard and the piano is fantastic. You've got a piano and an organ solo on it, really good. New World Blues starts off with a big and bold, and then it mellows out. Great track, great album, very consistent from this band. As I said, they don't put out bad albums, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. Coming in at number 7 then, we go to the year 2006, their 7th album, High and Mighty. That steady lineup now of Warren Haynes, Matt Apps, Danny Louie and Andy Hess. First track is Mr. High and Mighty. Great track, another great opening track. Superb stuff. Brand New Angel, very good track. That opening riff is brilliant. The bass line from Andy is a killer. It's a solid blues rock. So Weak, So Strong, very chilled out bluesy number. Love that one. Streamline Woman, one of these short, sharp rockers from Gov't Mule. Driving riffs, great drumming, great song. Child of the Earth, my favourite track on here. It's the best slow track, slow bluesy rock track the band have ever done. Listen to this all day. Lovely guitar tones, great vocal. You can't beat that one. Light Flies, Matt's drumming is great on here. Such a great drummer. Keeps the beats, keeps them going. Brilliant track. Unring the Bell, the riffs on this are great. It's got a bit of wah wah on there, pretty good. Nothing wrong with a bit of wah wah. Nothing Again, another great track. The solid blues rock. It's just wonderful stuff. Million Miles from Yesterday, very simple structured song, simple guitar, simple keyboard, you just can't go wrong. Brighter Days, some great guitar work at the beginning from Warren. Danny's keyboards really set this song up though. It's just a great bluesy southern rock track. Endless Parade, another long track. It's alright, I suppose. It just goes on a little bit too long. Three String George, I love the bass line on this. It sort of intertwines with that keyboard from Danny. Great track to end the album. Once again, the Mule deliver a great album. Some great playing on this as ever. Another enjoyable album. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.6. Time for a sip of coffee. Okay then, coming in at number 6, we've got a 2017 now, and the album is called Revolution Come, Revolution Go, and it was the 11th album. Warren, Matt, Danny, Jurgen on the bass, and additional on here is Geordie Johnson on the steel guitar. First track on this one, Stone Cold Rage, another killer track to start off a Mule album. Them riffs get you hooked from the minute you put it on. I love that organ sound that Danny gets on this. It's absolutely a brilliant track. My favourite track comes next, Drawn That Day. It was a song that sounds like it was recorded back in 1970 instead of 2017. It's got that 70s rock vibe to it. It's absolutely brilliant track. Pressure Under Fire. Danny's keyboards dominate this. It's the underbelly of this track that really gels it. Great track. You've got some lovely guitar tones as well from Warren. The Man I Want to Be. We got Matt's shimmery cymbals at the beginning of this. I love that shimmery sound they get. You get that classic bluesy keyboard. Great vocal from Warren. Brilliant track. Travelling Tune, now this is the one that's got the steel guitar on. Very good. It's country sort of style, but it's a really strong track. I like that track. Thorns of Life, some eeriness on there. The drumming from Matt is great, and you get this great eerie bass line from Jurgen. Dreams and Songs takes a little while to get going, but once it does, boy is it good. Absolutely killer track towards the end. Sarah Surrender, I love the drumming on this, but it's one of the weaker tracks on the album, probably one of their weaker tracks. Then we get the title track of Revolution Come, Revolution Go, just a great bluesy number. The riffs are brilliant, the piano is great in this. It's got that honky tonk feel to it, really good. Burning Point, another great vocal from Warren, just a classic bluesy song. Then we get Easy Times, which is one of these gentle blues songs, the gentle drumming, the little taps instead of the 100-mile-an-hour blasting away. You get the gentle side of it. Then we get Dark Was the Night, Cold as Was the Ground. It's a gospel song. It was recorded back in 1927 actually, so it's a very old song, and they brought it up to date. Absolutely belter to end the album. Very good album. The solid all the way through. I do love playing this, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.8. So coming in at number 5, we have got the 13th, the most current album released earlier this year. Peace, ... like a river. Warren, Matt, Danny and Jürgen. Got some additional musicians on here. We've got Bobby L. End on doing percussion, Michelle Dudley backing vocals, Pan Fleming's back on the trumpet, Jenny Hill makes an appearance with her saxophone, and the first track on here is called Same As It Ever Was. Great start, nice gentle thing. Love Warren's vocal, guitar. It's very 70s. This is. It's a brilliant track. Shake It Our Way Out. Now, when I reviewed this when it came out, I said this was my favourite track. It still is, because it features Mr. Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. Absolutely killer track. It is becoming one of my favourite tracks by Gov't Mule ever. I just love this track. Made My Peace. It's just got one of them lovely tones to it. Some nice vocals. Solid track. Peace I Need. Warren's vocals are great. He's still solid singing. Your Only Friend, another good track here. Great vocals. Then we have Dreaming Out Loud. We got Ivan Neville on vocals on here and Ruthie Foster on vocals. So it's a nice little track. When I've reviewed this, I weren't very keen on it. But the more I listen to it, the more I like it now. I think it's one of them tracks that's grown on me. Head Full of Thunder, great track. One of them that when I first heard it, I thought, "Whoa, this is good," and I do love this. It's probably my second favourite track on the album now. It's just an excellent modern southern rock with a modern twist. The River Only Flows One Way is next. You've got a guest vocal here by Billy Bob Thornton, the actor. Really adds to it. It was always an interesting track to listen to, and again, it's one of them that I've really grown to love. After the Storm. I love the sound of this. Some lovely guitar tones. Just across the river, we've got Salil Henderson on guitar here. A brilliant song with some great guitar playing. Great vocal from Celise. Wonderful track. Long Time Coming is next. Some Hammond organ on here from Danny. Absolutely killer track. And the last track is Long Too Gone. Solid track to end the album. Some great playing by the Mule on it. Now I really praise this when it come out, and I think this is an absolute brilliant album. I do play this so much. And this is going to be up there at the end of the year as well. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 4, we've got the self-titled 1995 album, Gov't Mule, the debut album. So it's Warren Haynes on vocals, Matt Apps on drums, Alan Woody on the bass, John Popper on harmonica, and Hook Herrera on harmonica as well. First track is Grinning in Your Face. Now this was a song first recorded as an old Sun House track released in 1965. It's just Warren singing on his own. As good as the original. Absolutely fantastic. Then we get Mother Earth, which is a Memphis Slim song, of course, way back from 1951, and it's a fantastic version. I love this song anyway, and the Gov't Mule do a brilliant version of it. Now we got Rockin' Horse, which of course is an Allman Brothers song when Warren rejoined the group for the album Hitting the Note. It's a great track anyway, and it doesn't sound no different, to be quite honest. I love that track. Monkey Hill, great bass line from Alan here. Alan, it's a great bass line. He was a great bass player. I love that track. Temporary Saint. This is one of them plug in and go stuff. It's raw as they come. Absolutely wonderful. Then we get a great track. One of my favourites from Gov't Mule is called Train. What I like about this, it's one of them tracks I think they just did it on the spot. It's got that vibe to it. It's absolutely a great jam. Brilliant. Then we get a track called Mule. Again, is it just them fooling around and recording it? Just a brilliant track. I love these. If it's Off the Hoof, that was brilliant. Then we got Dolphinius. It's just one of them lovely semi-acoustic tracks. Some great guitar work on that one. I like that one quite a lot. Painted Silver Light, one of the great guitar solos from Warren Haynes on this. Then we get a cover of Freed's Mr. Big. Fantastic. Now, the original, of course, has got that wonderful bass line from Andy Frazier. And Alan Woody pulls it off as well. Absolutely. That is the key essential bit of this song, is that bass line, and Alan pulled it off. It's a great version. Left Coast Groovies, in brackets for FZ or FZ. The Engine Room is brilliant. Matt and Alan absolutely on the money here. It's a great track again. It just seems like they're just plugging in and go and playing. The last track is World of Difference. It's probably my favourite guitar solo on the album from Warren. You can tell this is just plug in and go, raw and great. Great debut album. You can tell it's just recorded live. There's so much atmosphere that makes it a great bluesy album. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.1. Top 3. Tough as ever, but when you get to the top 3, there's just not much between these. So coming in at number 3, we've got the second album released in 1998, and it's called Dose. So it's Warren, Matt and Alan, and Tambourine by Michael Barbero and John the Revelator. Blind Man in the Dark. Now this is one of my favourite opening tracks on a Mule album. It comes straight in, bang. The bass line from Alan is fantastic. Matt's drumming is great, absolutely killer track. Then we have Thorazine Shuffle. I think this is probably the best track that Alan Woody ever played on. The bass line is just something else. Adding a bit of great drumming from Matt, and you've got a killer track. Then we have Thelonious Beck. The interplay between Alan and Warren is brilliant. It's a very short track, but boy do they really go great on it. Game Face, another great bass line from Alan. It just dominates the track. Towering Fool, lovely guitar tones on this from Warren and a great vocal. Then we have a track called The Bertha Mule. Now this is one of those sort of jazzy blues numbers. Matt's drumming is absolutely on fire. It just shows that he can play jazz, he can play blues, he can play rock. This is his more jazzy side of him, and it's really good. Then we get a traditional song called John the Revelator. It's a gospel blues song. Loads of people have recorded this. It was first recorded by Blind Willie Johnson back in 1930. Who else has recorded it? Golden Gate Quartet, Sunhouse, even Depeche Mode, the Jerry Garcia Band, and also it has been featured in one of the, I think it's Blues Brothers 2000 as fed. Then we have a track from the Beatles' Revolver album. She said it's a different interpretation, but I don't mind it. It's not too bad. Larger Than Life, another great bass line from Alan Woody. Another fantastic track. Raven Black Knight, very gentle, some mandolin in here, pretty good. I Shall Return, again one of them sort of jam session songs. It feels like they just plugged in and went. It's a great track to end the album. I love this album. It's absolutely killer from track 1 to track 11. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. So coming in at number 2, we go to the third album now, from 2000, and it is called Life Before Insanity, and it was the last album recorded by founding member Alan Woody, who actually died in the August of 2000. So we've got Warren Haynes on guitars and slides, Alan Woody plays bass and mandolin again, fretless bass, Matt Habs doing the drums, Michael Barbario is on glockenspiel now, Hera is on the harmonica, Ben Harper vocals and lap steel, Johnny Neal on organ, Wurlitzer organ and backing vocals. First track on here is Wandering Child, absolutely amazing track. Got Warren's gentle guitars, Alan's great bass line, incredible percussion on this. It's fantastic. Life Before Insanity, some lovely guitar work on this from Warren. You got some shimmery cymbals again. I love the shimmers of the cymbals. Then we get Bad Little Doggy, another of those tracks that probably could have been written in the 70s. Absolutely 70s rock at its best. Great little track. Lay Your Burden Down, another great track. It's Alan's bass line that drives this one, and that lovely organ sound is absolutely terrific. Fallen Down, this starts quite weird. It's sort of what's going on here, and then all of a sudden it slows down to nothing, starts up, really great vocal. World Gone Wild is next. Matt's drumming is great on here, especially at the beginning. That lovely keyboards on it's fantastic. Tastes Like Wine comes next. Atmospheric acoustic guitar really adds to that one. I think you know what I mean. Harmonica on this. I love harmonica and blues. It just works. Absolutely terrific. Far Away is one of probably Matt's best drumming performances in the band. Its gentleness and the rhythm. It's nothing, very intricate drumming. No Need to Suffer. Again, Matt's on fire. Very gentle in places, heavy in some. It's just a great track all round. Then we got In My Life and If I Have Possession over Judgment Day. The first bit is a Warren Trains track, just acoustic, and then we get another great version of a Robert Johnson, and he sings it in that vein, sitting there with an acoustic guitar, sort of Robert Johnson style. It's absolutely brilliant way for the album to end. It's a great album for Alan to sign off on. It's sad that he passed away, but it's an absolutely killer album. especially the highlight from one of my highlights is the sort of Robert Johnson homage. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.3. But my number one album, is the 9th album from 2009. It's called By a Thread, and it's the first album that featured Jørgen Clausen, who joined the band in 2009 after replacing Andy Hess. So it's Warren, Matt, Danny, Jørgen. Additional is Billy Gibbons again on Broke Down on the Brazos. Andy Hess does play bass on scenes from A Troubled Mind and World Wake Up. Geordie Johnson's back again doing some vocals. So, Broke Down on the Brazos. What a way to introduce your new bass player with a brilliant bass line. Billy's great on this. It's just a great track. Absolutely killer track. Stepping Lightly. We've got this combination of really bluesy riffs, gritty. Then you got a funky rhythm guitar in this as well. It's a great vocal from Warren. Absolutely killer. Okay, then we get a track called Railroad Boy. Now this is a traditional song. It was called the Butcher Boys Railroad Boy, and it was recorded way back in 1928. Many people have done this. John Baez has done it, Kirsty McCall, Sinead O'Connor. Elvis Costello's even done a version of this, and I think this is probably the best version of this song by Gov't Mule. I have found a version of the original, and it's a great little song, but this is just a fantastic version of it. I love that track. Then we get Monday Morning Meltdown. This reminds me of the Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff in the 70s. Some great guitar work. I love this track. It's an 8-minute epic, and it's brilliant. Then we get a track called Gordon James. Really like this. I love the arrangement. Little bit of strings in there. It does add to it. Open Any Window is the next track. Another of those tracks that could have been recorded 10, 20 years ago instead of 2009. Just a great track. Frozen Fear, my favourite track on here. The atmosphere and the bluesy feel to it with a hint of reggae thrown in there. It just adds it. It's that keyboard bit that's got the reggae to it. It just adds to it. Forevermore, one of my favourite sort of acoustic-y songs by Gov't Mule. I love the start of this, and it builds up, and you've got Danny coming in on with them lovely keyboard tones. Then we get Inside Outside Woman Blues 3. Now this is a long track, but the effects on here is just brilliant. This is just an absolute classic. It's got so much atmosphere on it. I love that track. Then we get Scenes from a Troubled Mind. Another 7-minute epic, and it's an absolute killer. The drumming from Matt is brilliant on this. Then we get World Wake Up. Really, after the fanatic of the last few tracks, we get this nice gentle track. I love the keyboard on this. It's more about that gentle little taps and rhythm. What a wonderful track to end a wonderful album. My favourite album, because it's just got some of Warren's best guitar work he's ever done in Gov't Mule. The effects and the tones he gets on these guitars is fantastic. Again, there's just not a bad track on this. From top to bottom, it's just full of great blues music and jamming. And I think also that Railroad Boy is probably one of their best covers. And it's just an amazing album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. So there we go, a little bit of a Gov't Mule for you, a great band. But that's all we have today, as this was a long one. It takes a little while to render and upload and all that sort of thing. So we'll be back tomorrow, and tomorrow it's Battle of the Debuts, but we're going back to remember a couple of months ago I says you can choose your albums. We had some left over after we picked them, and the thing was, Dave and I thought they were so good. Everyone that put in 2 albums to put up against it was so good, we had to do them again. So we're going to have the ones that were left over, and Dave has added one as well that he thought would be a good one. So that's tomorrow. Also tomorrow we're going to take a trip down memory lane, and we're going to look at the top 10 singles for the 7th of September 1970. So that's all tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow is also live stream day. So have a great day. It's going to be another warm day in here. So stay safe, but enjoy this late summer flurry. Bye for now.